Good evening, everybody. This is Rick and Oldana Seymour. We are Shaklee ambassadors, actually Shaklee Master Coordinators. Have been with the company for 52 years. And we had the opportunity a couple of months ago at the Masters Leadership Summit in, where were we? Columbus?
Columbus.
Columbus. To sit at the table with Amber Kuiper, who is our very special guest tonight. And we were so impressed with what she has accomplished in a very short period of time compared to so many of us in Shaklee that we thought it would be very beneficial for us to hear from her and her perspective on why she is so involved in Shaklee and what she's doing. But Amber, I would like to back up a little bit. Tell us two things. Number one, a little bit about your family. And
Mhm.
then I saw a Facebook post you did recently about your initial impressions of network marketing and what
Oh,
changed and how you sort of landed in Shaklee. So if you would kind of tell us a couple of those things, I think it'd be a wonderful start.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. I feel so honored to be on a call like this because to me, you all are like, Shackley royalty. And every time I have the chance to sit down with anyone who's been here, I just love it. I could listen to you just share Shackley all day. So it really is an honor to be asked to do this. But yeah, so. I live in Maple Grove, Minnesota. My family and I have four kids, and my oldest now is 14, and then I have twin daughters who are 13, and then another son that is 11. I gotta always think like, do I have the ages right? But yep, that's what they are right now. So yeah, I got into this. I got into network marketing when I was a really young mom. I was a stay-at-home mom and really that was my life goal. I really didn't have career, ambitions outside of I really wanted to be a mom. Except then when I became a mom, I realized I missed working and I missed having an outlet for myself. And I had, all four of my kids in less than 3 years. And so I had really, it was a really busy time in my life, but I just felt like I could never get outside the four walls of my home and I needed something that I could pour into that was kind of outside of my own home. And I really have always had a passion for health and fitness, mostly because of how it's helped me feel my best, especially mentally. I feel like for me, as someone who's dealt with some anxiety and some depression, exercise always helped me. And even after I had kids, it really just helped me to feel back to myself. And so I loved sharing about that. And then the whole idea though of network marketing was really not something I was interested in because I grew up in a small town in Northwest Iowa. And I don't know, it just seemed like whenever someone said the word network marketing, it was associated with this, those are pyramid schemes and, something you wouldn't want to be involved with. And only the people at the top make a lot of money. And so in my head, I really kind of felt like, well, gosh, I don't want to have that reputation. So when I was presented with the opportunity to start in network marketing, I really had to get over that. Like it took me a little while. It took me a long time actually because I was just kind of prideful and thinking that I knew what it was all about. But then of course, once I learned more about what it's actually all about, and it's not like anything that people think it's about. Then I really was excited because as a stay-at-home mom, we were a one-income family, and stuff. It was tight with four little kids, and I just remember going to Target and getting groceries or whatever I had to get. And I like to decorate my house. I like to get just extra little things here and there. And, my husband would get so mad at me if I added things. And I just hated that. I hated that we were on a tight budget. I wanted to contribute more. I wanted to be able to kind of have my own way that I was helping the family. And so that really ultimately is what helped me to kind of get over all of my fears was, you know what, I know I can help people through this. I know I can help them feel better. But also I know I can contribute to my family. And so along the way, God kind of opened my eyes and my heart to it. And yeah, I learned that, okay, this is much different than what I thought. And it was really able to change our family's life from there.
So, how did you land in Shaklee? Why Shaklee and why not another company?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Shaklee was something that I really didn't know much about until one of my friends was sharing more about it. And I guess what was really cool to me was when I learned how long it had been going, because it was a time when a lot of companies were not doing well. They were kind of going, changing their compensation plans. And so I didn't really have interest to go somewhere that was a startup. And I know some people love that, and that's great. But for me, I just knew that I was more drawn to a company that had been established and that was financially secure. So that was kind of the first thing that I just remember thinking, whoa, Shackley thought clean living was cool before it was cool. I just remember thinking, wow, like this is like kind of trendy now, but these people have been doing this for a long time and they really know what they're doing. And it was so different than anything else that I had experienced before, because it also had this ability to be non-toxic, natural, but also proven the test of time. And all the clinical studies really, really stood out to me too. And so for me, Shackley was different because, yeah, just that longevity piece that I already had, and it had people that they were still thriving. I think that was the biggest thing for me. Because I was skeptical of network marketing, I wanted to make sure that if I was inviting someone in to a company, that it was a place I could trust that they would also be able to have success. And seeing that so many people from so many different walks of life had had success over decades was really, really just kind of like put my heart at peace.
So now that you've been around this company a while, what do you think makes it different than other experiences you've had?
Definitely, I would say the people, first and foremost, just the people. I mean, I think I said this to you guys when I was hanging out with you in Ohio, but it's just this welcoming culture of people who want other people to win. And it's not a competitive culture or I want to do better than you or I make more money than you or anything like that. Like what's so neat is everyone is really treated as equals here, regardless of what you decided to do with your business. It's not about what rank you are, but really about the heart that you have. And so for me, what stood apart was just, yeah, how welcoming and everyone was. And I remember someone said, I think it was maybe Roger even said, we have this Shackley family. We're a Shackley family. And, I liked the idea. That sounded great, but you kind of wonder, like, is that for real or is that just like how they sort of see it? But once I was able to, really, I think, so I joined 2 years ago, in June, and it was like the 1st of June. And I went to that first conference in Dallas, and so that was 2 weeks after I joined, and I didn't know anybody. I was all by myself, and my upline I had met one time, and so I was by myself. And I remember I walked into the hotel. And I'm usually one of those people, by the way, that like my husband kind of does everything for me when I travel. So first of all, I'm like, how do I even, check into a hotel by myself? But here I am all by myself trying to figure out how I get to where I need to go. And the first person I meet in the elevator, of course, she's from Shackley. She was probably in her 60s or 70s. And she goes to me, she goes, "Oh, are you looking for registration too?" And that was like the first thing that popped out of her mouth was just so welcoming and again, she had no idea who I was, but she was just so kind and that was my experience that whole first weekend was just the friendly family. So when I was at that conference, it took me maybe 3 minutes to go, oh yeah, this is really a family. Even though they don't know me, they treat me as family. And then I was in the bathroom later that day at the conference, and I was so excited about seeing the Shackley hand wash. Well, I called it hand soap. So I went into the bathroom, I washed my hands, and I said to whoever was there, I said, "Oh, they even have Shackley hand soap in there." And she kindly corrected me and said, "Oh, it's not soap." And she explained why we don't do soap and why it's called hand wash. And so just so gracious in how everyone teaches each other too. But yeah, I'd have to say the products obviously are hands down like the best on the market, but beyond that is the people, is what I think will makes me want to stay around.
One of the things Olena and I have talked about a lot is that Shackley's not so much a business or a career, although it is, but it's a lifestyle.
Hmm.
And one of the things we always encourage people to do is to Shakleyize their home. And now that you've been exposed enough and have Shackleyized your home, what does that do in terms of your belief and your when you're talking to somebody else, how that kind of relationship builds because of it?
Oh, that's such a good question because I feel like I have so much I want to talk about every day because I use so many Shaklee products and I run out of time every day. But yeah, it really does. I mean, from the moment I get up to the moment I go to bed, I'm using some sort of Shaklee products. And we just actually moved into a different house. And when we were moving in, I just was filling up all of our hand wash. I have one in every bathroom, but I was filling all of those up. And I was like, whoa, this is Shaklee and this. And you kind of forget how much you really do touch during the day. And then, my kids too. So having four kids and they're all in sports, now they're really starting to get into all of the protein. And now we have them doing the creatine and actually collagen now this summer because they've had some injuries. So they're using it and they just know Shaklee is what we do. Um, but I think it really does build your belief then because when you go out into to talk to someone, it's
Humans.
just you have this confidence level that is just it feels really natural because you're using it all day every day. We had to laugh the other day. My husband was laughing because we were cleaning the bathrooms up here, and I am like bound and determined to teach, especially my boys, how to clean a bathroom properly. And so we had our basic H out, and I was like, we use it for everything, but my youngest case, and so my husband hears him go, "Hey, mom, are we using basic H for that too?" And we're like, "Yep, that too." And so it just kind of becomes part of your family. But yeah, it's when you use it all day long, it's so easy to talk about because you really do see it changing, not your life, but your whole family's life.
So, what kind of relationships have you built through the business since you've been around Shackley and have started building a very significant organization and you're coaching people and mentoring people and teaching people?
And just before that, so Amber, you approached us at a breakfast at the summit and asked us to speak for your organization. What drew you to do that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just feel like, you guys have so much knowledge that we're positioned at this moment in time where we have kind of like the best of both worlds in the sense of so many people that have that history and the knowledge, and you know how to talk about the products, you know how to sell the products, so much better than we do. And it's like, then we also have this kind of new wave of people in the field that have so much to learn about Shackley, but maybe we're a little bit more on the social media side of things. So I think it's just like a really neat time to bring everyone together. But I think the reason why I want people like you, I want my team to hear from people like you is because it inspires them that if you stick with it for so long and you are just consistent, what you can truly create. And it doesn't have to feel weird. It doesn't have to feel salesy or spammy or anything like that, but just getting around the right people, it really helps to, I think, build trust in the opportunity and kind of what Shackley is all about.
Well, and having said that, I think one of the things that Eldon and I are consistently impressed with is you have accomplished in 2 years what it took us 10 years to accomplish.
Right.
And I think, yes, part of that is
A different program.
different program, part of it is social media, part of it
Hmm.
is technology that we didn't have, but it always boils down to the relationships and the
Hmm.
people and the mentoring and the coaching and all of that. So spend a little time talking about your team and what you're doing to grow them and encourage them.
Yeah, well, and I want to touch on what you said too about, how the way I say it is we have it easy compared to how you guys had it, like back in the day, especially as I hear stories. We get to go on social media and share, but the stories and I had the stories that you were sharing in Ohio of like driving across the country and all of that kind of stuff. It's just like, wow, that is so inspiring. And so a lot of times I'll tell my team, if they can do that, you guys, we can surely like post on social media. It's not that hard. We have to realize this moment of time is a gift, but besides that though, like, yes, we have social media, but you're right. It's still about the relationships and it's still about just really serving people and listening to what their needs are. And that's one of the things that I think you guys do so well is always listening to what people might need. I mean, even that morning, so just so I have to tell this story about your leaders here, but I was asked to speak at Ohio and I was so nervous. And they bring me stress tablets just right before I spoke. And she remembered the night before, then had them the next morning for me. And it just totally helped to calm my nerves. But that's the kind of people, that Shaklee people are, is it's just looking for, like, how can I serve you and how can I help you? But the relationships with the team, I think my favorite part is helping like everyday mom. A lot of people on my team are moms, but helping everyday moms really believe that they're capable of more, because they are. And it doesn't matter if they have ever done this before or if they have a social media following. A lot of the people that joined my team, even though they're closer to my age, like they haven't been using social media to post about the business. So that feels really different for them. So kind of teaching them how to do that in an authentic way and just like, okay, so this friends and family sale that we just had, it was so fun, right? Like how fun was that? And just to see how excited they were to share Shaklee, and it built their confidence, and we had people hitting director, that it wasn't even on their radar, but because they had been sharing consistently, finally when that sale hit, it was like, oh my goodness, this is actually happening. And so then to see their confidence really go up as they keep taking action, I think is my favorite part, because I remember being in that spot when I was building in the beginning of going, gosh, can I do this? I don't know if I have what it takes. And then, you might get a few more customers and your confidence starts to build. But yeah, just the relationships and like what you said about, really kind of transforming your whole life and seeing people that were using, I mean, all the toxic products. Now their whole home is Shakleeized and they feel so much more confident even in that, just that their family is getting healthier products. But yeah, the relationship side is really, really fun. We like to do, some in-person stuff like in smaller scale, and so we like to do retreat weekends and things like that. I was just in Iowa. You guys met my friend Katie at in Ohio, but I was just down at her river house a couple weekends ago with her team, and just I think passing on this vision of, yeah, you're capable of more is probably my favorite part.
It's interesting how you talk about that because so many of us on this call are part of the Shaklee legacy, but there are several who are on this call tonight who want to relaunch their business,
Mm,
Some
or
brand new people.
and some brand new people who want to launch their business.
mm-hmm.
Um, so if you were talking to a new person,
Mm-hmm.
um, what would you be telling them about why this might be a fit for them?
Yeah, so what I'm most excited about, I think right now when it comes to new people is just once I like to share with them how really truly easy these products are to sell once people know about them. I really think that's the only missing link for for Shaklee right now, is just we have to get the word out about these products because everyone's looking for them. They just don't know Shaklee yet. And that's probably, to people that have been at Shaklee, that sounds like, how could you possibly not know Shaklee? But that's what I'm finding is there's just, so many people that have not yet heard about Shaklee. And so I think that this opportunity is positioned really, really well because you have the foundation of a company that stood the test of time. You have the clinical studies, it's financially stable, but then it's basically wide open space because a lot of people in my generation have never heard of Shaklee. But I'll tell you, once they hear about it, they're like, "What? What is this? I like, where has this been all my life? I need this." Because what they've been trying to do is go to big box stores to try to figure out non-toxic living. So they might go to Walmart or Target or Costco, And, they see labels that look kind of clean, but still, and that was me before I learned about Shaklee. I knew I wanted to do better around our house, but it was so confusing because you'd go to those stores and, even though the packaging would say non-toxic, then you'd do your research and it wouldn't actually be what you thought it was going to be. Plus, it didn't even work very well. So then you're kind of back to square one. Well, when you have a busy family, that just the whole thing of swapping things out of your home, it just gets pushed to the back burner until you discover Shaklee because it's so easy because once you swap one thing out, you can swap everything out. And so I think the fact that there's so many people in our generation that have not yet heard about it and the new Shaklee compensation plan, which makes it really, really doable for people to earn, even if you don't have a team. I think, for people, especially right now, I don't know, it seems like there's a bit of a shift where people are a little bit intimidated to build a team, which I understand. But they're like, I would love to just share the products. And with this compensation plan now, they can do that and they can earn really significant income for their families. We have women on our team now that are just, again, everyday moms, but they just work really hard. They love sharing Shaklee. They don't necessarily have a team, but they're selling over $10,000, $15,000 in products. And it's not because they have a social media following, it's because they just share Shaklee. And so to me, that's why I think now is really the best time to get started because I feel like there's just so many people that don't know about Shaklee. And I'll have to send this to you. I kind of broke down like the different sales tiers of like, how much you can make at each tier. And once you kind of look at that and you go, gosh, I think I could find 20 people to have Shaklee. Like it kind of starts to register and you're like, I think I could do that. And you really can. Um, and I don't care if people come in with a thing of basic H or if they want to buy the whole buy a wage reset, like I would say I tend to start people smaller and then they go from there. But whatever they come in with, it's like get them in the door with something, and then just the more that they get exposed to it, the better it is. But for someone that's new, I would say like don't sleep on this because I just feel like we're at such a moment in time where like things are taking off again, and it's almost like you get to be a founder again at Shaklee because it's this whole new generation.
I'm kind of chuckling as you talk about all these people that haven't heard of Shaklee living in the Minneapolis area because three of the largest businesses in town were started in Minneapolis.
Oh,
So
really?
it's been
Oh
there
my goodness.
forever.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, I love that.
Well, tell me, 5 years from now, what do you want it to look like for you and your family?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I just, I guess for our family, I would love for me really to be at a point where, so my kids will probably be in college at that point. My husband and I will be almost empty nesters. And I would love for us to just have that flexibility that we can go and visit our kids, like wherever they end up, and that we can continue to work hard on our Shaklee business. And really that I can give that gift to more women on my team too, who want that freedom and flexibility because it is possible, and it is one of those things that it doesn't have to be just for certain kinds of people. Trust me, if you knew what a hot mess I can be some days where I just like my whole world feels like it's crazy with kids and all that. You'd be like, how the heck did she build a business? So like you don't have to have it all together to build a business. I think it's just, continuing to go for it. But yeah, I think in 5 years, I would love to like what I see you guys do. You go to all the Shaklee events and you make those a priority. And you said that you've made those a priority throughout. And um, to me, that sounds so fun because you still have purposeful work that you get to do, even after, the kids are out of the house and all of that. So yeah, there's so many probably things I could say, but that probably excites me the most is I want to be able to have the flexibility to just, go wherever we want to go as a couple and hang out with fun people like you guys and help more people to be healthier.
I kind of chuckle about that because you have obviously been very successful with four kids who are teens and preteens. To be able to fit a business in around that knowing
That's
what
impressive.
schedules are like these days with sports activities and all the stuff that kids get involved in. I think that speaks very well to the flexibility of this business and being able to make it fit around your life instead of making it your life. And
Yes.
I think you're a great role model for that. And anything else you want to ask before we call
Well,
it a
I
night?
just figure you spend a lot of time at whatever sports activities your kids are at, sharing Shaklee with all the moms, telling them how great it is for your children to be so well and so successful because they're healthy.
Yes, it is true. A lot of my conversations happen there.
Oftentimes, Rick and I thought we needed to adopt some young children just to do that.
Yes.
Well, Amber, this has been totally awesome. Does anybody have a question for Amber before we call it a night?
Hey, Amber, this is Scott. Great to have you on the call tonight. Thank you for taking time out for our team.
Thank you.
I have one quick question for you. Well, it's a quick question, may not be a quick answer, so I'll let you handle the. I saw a post a few days ago on my wife's feed. Some lady was ranting about network marketing and the wellness industry being such a scam, and I mean, she was just going off. And I know there's still that attitude out there amongst people, and I know how to tackle that, right? That objection does not scare me whatsoever because I've been educated in the whole Shaklee philosophy and how we're different as a company. You came from a framework of, I've heard network marketing is a pyramid scheme, and you had a bridge to cross. And I'm curious what bridge you build for people when those conversations come up.
Let me see who else is on.
Yeah, that's so, I mean, it does happen quite often. I especially when I think what holds people up is they get nervous what others will think of them. Like, if I get in this, what will they think? And so the first thing that I try to tell like new ambassadors especially is that it really helps when you remember it's not about you. You know, it's not about what people think of you, but it's really about you putting yourself out there to serve other people. And I think like the whole there is just a lot of noise out there, but I think that if people trust you as a person, that it helps them to get over some of those things of like what that is. And then I also find that the first time someone comes to like an in-person event and they realize, oh, this is not what those people online try to make it out to be. Like, you're actually real cool people. You know, I don't have to be scared of you. It just kind of builds their confidence. But I do think as a mentor, there in the beginning, especially, there does have to be a lot of cheerleading and reminding them, like, you can do this. It doesn't matter what people think, you know, keep going kind of thing. Um, but it doesn't happen overnight either. I feel like it, but being around the Shaklee family, I think makes those objections just dissipate because you can't tell me that that something's bad about this once you're with people in person.
Great answer. I love the fact that you said this isn't about you. It's about
Yeah.
serving other people, and that is the antithesis of the whole MLM fear from people. Yeah,
Hmm.
great job. Great answer.
Thanks.
I think that's a great question and a great note to end on. Thank you, Scott. Amber, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank
Yes,
you.
thank you so much.
See you
Enjoyed
walk
that.
across the stage in Nashville.
Yeah, I hope to see you guys in Nashville.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
will.
The only last question I have for you, Amber, is do you have to lock the door so your kids don't come in when you
Yes. The door is locked right now, I will admit.
Our daughter did that too.
Yeah, she hung a sign that said, if you're not bleeding, do not come in.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you again, Amber. Good night, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank
See
you.
y'all next week.
Thank you. Yes.